Hi, welcome back traders. In this video, I'll go over stock, ETF, futures for the week ahead. Support and resistance level or supply and demand zones, along with the chart analysis. Let's get right into the video. I made this video on how to use supply and demand. Also same as support and resistance. You should watch this to understand how to use my support and resistance levels. Also, when a stock or an asset has strong demand, it will push over the first few resistance levels, and those levels will become support. Welcome to Take It Easy Trading, your channel to get stock market updates, trading levels for popular ETFs, stocks and Bitcoin. You will also find tutorials on how to trade, develop your own trading strategies and learn continuously. Please like, share, comment, and if you find value in my videos, please subscribe to get notified of new content. Let's look at the SPY, S and SPX. This is SPY chart and levels from the last week. SPY is currently trading around $398.50. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $403.86, second resistance is at $406.38. The weekly resistance is at $410.49. Support or demand for SPY would be first at $394. The next area of support will be $391, and weekly support will be at $389. This is SPX chart and levels from the last week. SPX is currently trading around $4,000. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $4,038, second resistance is at $4,074. The weekly resistance is at $4,122. Support or demand for SPX would be first at $3,928. The next area of support will be $3,903, and weekly support will be at $3,886. This is S futures chart and levels from the last week. S futures are currently trading around $4,009. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $4,057, second resistance is at $4,087. The weekly resistance is at $4,134. Support or demand for S futures would be first at $3,980. The next area of support will be $3,936, and weekly support will be at $3,901. Now, let's look at the QQQ and NQ futures. This is QQQ's chart and levels from the last week. QQQ is currently trading around $281. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $287.80, second resistance is at $291. The weekly resistance is at $297. Support or demand for QQQ would be first at $276. The next area of support will be $273, and weekly support will be at $268. This is NQ futures chart and levels from the last week. NQ futures are currently trading around $11,564. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $11,740, second resistance is at $11,880. The weekly resistance is at $12,058. Support or demand for NQ futures would be first at $11,438. The next area of support will be $11,362, and weekly support will be at $11,238. This is DIA's chart and levels from the last week. DIA is currently trading around $343. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $346, second resistance is at $348. The weekly resistance is at $351. Support or demand for DIA would be first at $340. The next area of support will be $337, and weekly support will be at $334. This is IWM's chart and levels from the last week. IWM is the ETF for the Russell 2000 Small Cap Index. IWM is currently trading around $187. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $188, second resistance is at $189.25. The weekly resistance is at $191.16. Support or demand for IWM would be first at $185. The next area of support will be $183, and weekly support will be at $181. This is VIX's chart and levels from the last week. VIX is currently trading around $18.35. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $19.17, second resistance is at $20. The weekly resistance is at $20.57. Support or demand for VIX would be first at $18. The next area of support will be $17.77, and weekly support will be at $16.37. This is Dollar Index's chart and levels from the last week. Dollar Index is currently trading around $102. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $102.56, second resistance is at $103. The weekly resistance is at $103.88. Support or demand for Dollar Index would be first at $101.80. The next area of support will be $101.37, and weekly support will be at $100.34. This is TLT's chart and levels from the last week. TLT is currently trading around $106.75. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $107.57, second resistance is at $108.40. The weekly resistance is at $109. Support or demand for TLT would be first at $106.15. The next area of support will be $105.56, and weekly support will be at $104.73. This is GLD's chart and levels from the last week. GLD is Gold ETF. Gold ETF is currently trading around $178. For the coming week, the first resistance is at $179.43, second resistance is at $180. The weekly resistance is at $181. Support or demand for Gold ETF would be first at $176.64. The next area of support will be $175.56, and weekly support will be at $173.58. That's all in this video. Do let me know how do you plan to use these supply and demand zones. Please drop a like, or share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.